Hey everyone, 𝐸𝐵𝐇𝐋𝐈𝐆𝐇𝐋𝐈𝐆𝐇𝐓 here for CSM Practice, the customer success strategy, coaching, and consulting firm. Wanted to thank you so much for being in this podcast and listening to all of our episodes. We put so much effort into this, hours of work for myself, my team. And so every time you like a video, you subscribe to our channel or pass it on to somebody else, it's greatly appreciated. So I wanted to thank you and give you all my love for all your support. Today, just like any other episode, so if this is your first time listening, every episode is packed with actual experiences from the trenches. We bring in customer success executives and leaders in this space to share best practices and what works for them. And this episode is no other. Specifically, if you're listening to this specific discussion today, and I'm going to share who's it with in a minute here, you're going to learn what works when you have both high touch and very low touch engagement models, so completely different cohorts, and yet you want to be able to identify risk earlier in a more credible, consistent manner. You want to allow for better, easier engagement with customers. And if you want to improve the time it takes you to actually give value to clients, so if you measure the time from contract to value and you want to improve it by at least 50% in a relatively short period of time, this is the conversation you want to listen to. I have a very special guest. His name is Jeff Kinne. He's the head of customer success and CX operations at Celigo. Also used to be a client of mine. So always good to see you. Always good to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. And I appreciate all the hard work your team did for me when I first started at Celigo. Couldn't have gotten off to the start I did when I started there.
Well, maybe you can share a little bit. How long have you been with the company? What does your team look like? And what kind of clients do you help?
I've been the head of customer success at Celigo for just 3 years, just hit my anniversary on that. My team is 26 CSMs, which include 3 managers. I have 3 different teams. We have basically a high touch, a medium touch, and a digital or tech touch segments of our customers. So I have 2 teams within the high touch, which are running customers just like standard CSMs, a named CSM, they have a patch, they work with their customers. And then in the lower tiers, we've deployed onboarding specialists across both of our mid and tech touch customers. But behind that, we have a pool of CSMs, then we'll pick up the customer post the 90 days of the onboarding. And then we also use digital across some customers as well. So we are in the medium-sized business, helping customers connect their disparate systems together through an iPaaS platform.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, who are your clients and what kind of problems do you help them solve?
It's helping them solve business automation. So when customers are doing things in a manual process or they don't have their systems connected very well, our platform allows them to connect those applications in a much more streamlined fashion, resulting in ability for our customers to relieve different pressures on resources, but also allows them to scale, to drive their business to a higher level.
So if I understand correctly, is it any business, as long as they're high growth and need to start getting a bit more mature around?
Absolutely.
So all industries almost, but sort of like mid-size, high growth. Yes?
Yep, absolutely.
That's a wide range of industries that your team might need to work with, and also a wide range of potential business problems that you could solve. Is that a true statement?
It is absolutely a true statement. I think, though, when you boil it down, a lot of things are similar. A customer sells something, they track inventory, they have to onboard their employees, they have to get credentials. So, even though they're different industries, a lot of things are very similar across the problems we solve. Now, there's definitely differences in the different industries, but a lot of things that we work on are similar in what is needed for these companies. So all companies have a ton of different applications they use. And so we just help them connect those applications, streamline business processes.
That sounds like a more of a complicated job as a CSM than maybe when you work in a different company where it's always the same industry and it's maybe 4 or 5 different use cases. But that's just my gut feeling here. I could see as a CS executive when you just get the team, and I think you mentioned you started 3 years ago. Given this environment, what were some of the biggest challenges your CSM teams were facing at the time?
When I first started, we weren't segmenting our customers. So we weren't putting alike customers together and allowing people to have focus. So I went and looked, and who was supposed to be some of my best CSMs had 300 accounts across all different segmentations, all different components. And so we had a lot of people who were struggling with their focus and then providing the right service to our customers.
What was the impact on the team's morale, on your ability to actually drive outcomes for customers?
Morale was difficult at that time, but that's where we had to look quickly at how do we do something that can scale and take the pressure off of having that type of book of business.
Did you have like a foresight? Oh my gosh, if you continue on this path 10 years from now, what was going to happen? Like if nothing had changed in your head.
Our CFO wouldn't allow it to continue to just expand a CSM per number of customers that you bring in. So it became a part where we had to look at what's the next step for us to be able to scale our organization. That next step was moving to a pooled model. So separating and segmenting our customers who would be that whole high touch, medium touch, more of the tech touch, or what you started with a pooled model.
You're coming in, the CSMs are handling about 300 accounts each. There's no real smart assignment there, smart in the sense like sophisticated assignment. So they're completely overwhelmed. The clients are not getting what they want. And so you're in a junction. You could either hire more people to lower the CSM to customer ratio, but that's not possible. CFO says that's a no-go. And so the only other path is to scale with technology. At a high level, can you name 3 things that you did that you think were like, whoa, 3 years now into the future, today's world, when you look back, like what are the 3 things that you've done that made a big difference?
One is moving to utilize Gainsight in a different manner. And part of that was moving customers into different segments where we could put a pool of customers and we were able to allow this pool to handle more of the 300 to 1 because they're not assigned to a direct person. They can go across and they can work as a team and have focus and drive different aspects of what's needed in the CSM area. And the third was we were going through, that was the year of the resignation. A lot of people were changing jobs. And so I had the opportunity to bring in what I looked at for the skills that were needed for the CSM. And so identifying the skills that were needed for my team, and I know those are different across different CSM organizations, but that ability to bring in those type of people were the biggest game changers for us to get to where we are today.
1, you opted into a more sophisticated customer segmentation. 2, you leveraged that segmentation to create a pooled model. And 3, you brought in new blood. So with this new strategy and this new engagement model, different skills were needed. And it just so happened after the corona, we all know what happened in, I think it was like 2022. A lot of people were switching jobs, getting better salary, whatnot. And that was a golden opportunity for you to reassess, okay, with this new strategy, this new methodology, this new framework that I'm building, do I need the same skill set or do I need something else? And so if people are leaving, I can bring in people with different skill set that might be better for the direction I'm taking the team going forward.
I think it's also some fresh blood. Folks were challenged and felt a lot of weight on them, and bringing in fresh people who had the energy, who bought into the vision of where we were going was a big deal.
So before we go into each one of these 3 components, we're now in 2024. So 2021, obviously, things weren't working the way you would like them to. Looking into 2024, what has changed? What was the impact of introducing these 3 elements?
Statistically, we've increased the speed of customer getting contract time to value. That was a key item that we measured over 2023 with even more changes that we put into place, that we were able to look at our customers, ensure that they were getting production transactions within 4 months. We saw that move from 50% of our customers to over 70% of our customers. So a big change because we had focus. We know how we were going after those new customers, and then also how we looked after customers who were potentially a little bit older but struggling, and making sure that we're engaged in certain ways.
Between the lines, what I'm hearing is that you did some due diligence work first and foremost, and you embedded some of those frameworks to being able to even measure an index of adoption. So what's the golden standard for adoption for any customers? are opting into your system? What are the things you're expecting them to do within X number of days? And then track whether or not they're doing it, and then see how many actually reach to that point as an indicator to say, all right, are the strategies we're putting in place, the new segmentations, the pool model, the adoption strategies, this fresh new blood, all of those changes, big uplifts that you're putting in, are they getting us to goals? And I love that you created your own index. And I love that you're tracking it, that you can showcase measurable wins and even for yourself to see if things work or not. Was there anything else that you've seen had changed since then? What else, like these new initiatives, helped bring about to the organization or the team?
If you want to see the full interview and get access to secret scenes, you need to sign up for my exclusive mastermind program, The Customer Method, and get instant access. I created the customer method to give you all the strategies, playbooks, tools, and the support you'll need in order to take your customer success practice within your own organization to the next level. And there's never been a better time than now to step up your business customer success game. So go ahead, check out the description below on how to join us, and I'll see you on the inside.
I know you're using Gainsight for both the pooled model and the digital CS. What are some tips on what to do and what not to do when developing a pooled model based on your experience thus far?
We started with just a shared email account, and I think we've stayed there too long. And we're actually moving it into something that provides cases and so forth. That's one of the challenges that we've had that I would change if I could go back. I wish I would have started that way. Also, wish we would have had some of the milestones and some of those components in place when we started this, because that would have allowed us to focus a little bit more. So I don't think that we had as much focus as we could have, but that stuff's all improving. And in my mind, it's all about maturity. Wherever you're at, you're looking at how do you mature, whether it's the pooled model, whether it's your organization, these type of things. The places where I think we did well is we had a plan. We moved customers there. We communicated to customers. We reviewed where we're at. We're looking at if we're having any issues, the type of service we could provide. We were always iterating through that. And that goes to that team. They looked at it like, hey, from their leader to the team, how do they continue to get better and better? And so is having a team that worked that and looked at it as, it's not that I'm in a pool model. I'm working with a bunch of people who we're working towards one direction, trying to help our customers, help them succeed. And then how do we get better? How do we improve this? How do we provide more to our customers?
Are you managing the pooled model in Gainsight right now, or you've always used a different solution and just integrated the data into Gainsight? How does that work?
The pooled model is all in Gainsight. So the customers are in Gainsight, they're flagged in Gainsight. The only thing that when a customer communicates to us, to that shared pooled CSM, it goes into email box and then it's worked from there. So we're in the process of looking at moving that more into cases so we can do a couple things. One is have better reporting capabilities to find where we can create some FAQs, different things like that. And also, I keep pushing, I want to put AI over top of it. I want to be able to take all the history that we've answered for customers and start to be able to produce answers for the CSMs to almost automatically being able to answer questions for the CSMs as well.
Well, if I hadn't known better, I would say you're looking at optimizing the tech stack. You're actually looking at it as a tech stack need to optimize the pooled model. So in a perfect world, without maybe naming names necessarily, unless you do have some recommendations, what does a pooled model tech stack should look like?
I think it should look like something where you do have some sort of case view of the responses coming into the CSM. And that can be Salesforce or Zendesk, something like that, a ticketing system. The other piece that I'm pretty high on is a true onboarding platform, because you're getting these customers and trying to drive them through this. And I love Gainsight. It's great for current customers, but I do think that there's a new area of onboarding platforms that allow more workflows, that allow different interactions with the customers and then potentially their implementers. So who's helping them implement? We're working through that as well. And so that's what I would look at from a tech stack perspective. And then there's some layers that you can utilize for artificial intelligence and so forth. And Gainsight has some great things built in that we've gotten into in the last year, which are great. to be able to pull out and look at customer intent without having to like dig through a whole bunch of emails or a whole bunch of like communication from the customer base.
Sounds like you definitely would want to get out of the email and put every request in a support ticket so you can see who was assigned, how long did it take to respond, was it effective, was the customer happy, etc. Just like any other support ticketing system does. And then you would definitely want to give them a customer portal so that they can better manage the onboarding experience, especially for the tech touch, the lower customer cohort. And I just wanted to clarify, if somebody does have a customer success solution, they should still look into leveraging it for that cohort that is in a pooled model. And you mentioned like consolidate the communication that goes back and forth, maybe consolidate the data, create that adoption index, and call out trends that are outside the ticketing system. Is that fair to say?
All of our customer information is in Gainsight, and our adoption scores in Gainsight. Our triggers are there for we're not getting the right adoption score at a certain time if different things drop. So we are utilizing that business application for those. So yeah, absolutely. All those things are there for pooled model, but I'd say I still look at using those things as well for the non-pooled models, the onboarding, those type of things too.
Do you have any tips on how to onboard a CSM that's going to be assigned to a pooled model?
We've had an internal program at Celigo. We've pulled a lot of people. From the outside, we've brought folks in, and it's similar to a CSM. It's the shadowing, getting in and doing some stuff. So we look at getting our folks in. We have a standard education about Celigo, about the platform. I look for all my CSMs to actually get level 4 certified on the platform. So technical tasks that they have to do. We actually have our pool team shadow the strategic CSMs on business reviews, onboardings, all that stuff to see how it goes there. And then to take that back and think about like, hey, how do I do that in a scaled fashion?
Jeff, this was so fascinating. I know we started the conversation with saying, hey, we're going to have a framework to identify risk earlier, increase adoption. We talked about the adoption score, but this evolved into such a comprehensive discussion around pooled models. And I appreciate you for coming in and being so transparent and so honest about everything that's going on. I learned a ton, I think. So thank you so much. This was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. This is a wrap. Big love for me. I'll see you at the next episode.